Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, let's forget the headlines for a bit today,
Yeah, let's do that.
because we're digging into something pretty fundamental, really underpinning almost everything, the idea of a product.
Right.
Now, you might immediately think, shiny new gadget, that service everyone's talking about.
The obvious stuff.
Exactly. But that's really just scratching the surface. We've got some great insights here from Chapter 03, What is a Product? And we're going to try and unpack what a product really is, moving beyond those simple definitions.
Absolutely. And for you listening, if you want to get a clear and pretty thorough understanding without having to wade through tons of text.
Yeah, who has time for that?
Exactly. You're in the right place. Our mission here is to pull out the core essence of what a product is. Its basic nature, the different shapes it takes, and how it goes way beyond just the physical thing.
Giving you that solid perspective, but, efficiently.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Engaging, but efficient.
Okay, let's jump right in then. So one of the first things from the source that kind of stood out is that products are basically the result of effort or thought. They don't just happen.
Right. There's intention there, work involved.
But what really resonated, I think, is this idea that at their core, products are about delivering benefits.
Ah, yes.
Benefits that satisfy some kind of customer need or desire. It's less about the thing.
And more what it does for you.
Exactly, what it does.
That's such a critical way to look at it because it immediately shifts the focus, doesn't it, towards the customer's view of value. A product, whether it's, something you can hold or a service you experience.
Tangible or intangible.
Right. It isn't valuable just sitting there. Its worth comes from the solution it gives or the problem it fixes or maybe the aspiration it helps someone reach.
Yeah.
And like the source says, we really need to stretch that definition beyond just tangible goods.
To properly include those intangible services, too.
For sure.
Okay, and this next bit really made me rethink things.
Yeah.
From the customer's viewpoint, a product isn't just that moment you use it.
Interesting.
It's the whole experience. Everything leading up to buying or using it, the interaction itself, and even what comes after.
Yeah, that's a much wider scope than just the physical object, isn't it?
Totally.
And what's interesting there is how that holistic view mirrors reality. Because for the customer, those lines between a tangible good and an intangible service, they get blurry.
They really do.
Like, think about buying a car. You do research online, maybe talk to a salesperson.
Deal with financing.
Right. Then there's the actual driving, the maintenance later, the warranty.
It all feeds into your idea of that product.
Exactly. It's the total package.
Which leads us nicely into looking at goods and services separately for a moment.
Okay.
So the source breaks down physical products first into consumer goods, stuff we buy for personal use.
Right. Everyday things.
And within that, there's a pretty useful breakdown. First, you've got convenience products.
Ah, the easy ones.
Yeah, quick, frequent buys, not much thought needed. Like grabbing coffee, a newspaper, gum.
Impulse buys, almost. Low effort.
Then you step up to shopping products. And here, as the source notes, people are actively comparing. They're doing their homework.
Right. This is where research comes in. Think about buying maybe gold or silver, a new car, even clothes sometimes.
You're weighing things up.
Exactly. You've got this sort of mental checklist, right? Price versus quality, how long will it last, maybe even resale value down the line.
Makes sense. Then there are specialty products.
Ooh, okay.
These are the ones where, like, brand loyalty is huge or there's something really unique that makes people actively seek that specific thing out.
So less comparison shopping.
Yeah, often involving quite a bit of effort to get it. Think luxury items, that amazing exotic vacation, a rare collector's piece.
Got it. It's about a specific desire or that connection to the brand itself.
Precisely.
And we shouldn't forget the less glamorous category, unsought products.
Right. The source mentions things like funeral items, caskets, headstones.
Things you don't really want to shop for.
Exactly. Stuff consumers aren't actively looking for, might even avoid thinking about, until, well, they have to.
A bit grim, but yeah, a necessary distinction.
Definitely. Now, the source also touches on business to business, or B2B, goods and services.
Okay, shifting gears a bit.
Yeah, these are the things companies use to run their own operations or maybe sell on to other businesses.
Like office supplies or consulting services.
Right. And then distinct from that are industrial products. These are used specifically within an industry or business, not by individuals for personal use.
Ah, so the end user is the key differentiator there.
It seems so, like specialized factory machinery versus the software a company uses for its accounts.
Gotcha. One's industrial, the other's B2B.
Right.
That distinction's important. And to refine the goods categories even more, the material talks about classifying them by their sort of lifespan or nature. So you have perishable products, things with a limited shelf life, easily spoiled or used up.
Like fresh food, obviously.
Yeah.
Fruits, vegetables, dairy.
Yeah, but also things like cosmetics, maybe fuel, cleaning supplies, even paper products.
Yeah.
Things that don't last.
Non-durable.
Right. And then the opposite, durable goods.
Things built to last?
Designed for at least 3 years of use, typically. Furniture, electronics, hardware.
And big industrial stuff too, right? Like copiers or heavy machinery.
Exactly. It's quite interesting how that expected lifespan changes everything, how they're made, marketed, priced.
Yeah, totally different expectations.
For sure. And finally, for physical goods, there's the idea of finished goods.
Meaning?
Ready to go, ready for immediate sale to the final customer, no more processing needed. It's the end of the line for production.
Okay. That covers goods pretty well.
I think so. So now let's pivot from the tangible
To the intangible. Let's talk services.
Yes. And the source brings up that classic Kotler and Keller definition.
Which is?
Services are basically any activity or benefit that one party can offer to another, which is essentially intangible and does not result in the ownership of anything.
Intangible is the key word there. You can't hold it, can't touch it.
Exactly. And the source then lays out 4 key characteristics that often define services.
Okay, what are they?
First, as we said, intangibility. No physical form.
Right.
Second, perishability. This is interesting. It means if a service isn't used when it's available, that chance is gone forever.
Like an empty hotel room for the night or an unsold airline seat?
Precisely. Once that plane takes off, you can't sell that seat again. That revenue potential just vanished.
Businesses must hate that.
Oh, yeah. They try things like dynamic pricing, overbooking, last-minute deals to manage it. It's a constant challenge with perishable services.
Makes sense. What's next?
Then there's inseparability.
Meaning?
Production and consumption often happen at the same time. And usually there's direct interaction between the provider and the customer.
Ah, like getting a haircut. The stylist is producing the service as you're consuming it.
Perfect example. Or attending a live concert. You're experiencing it as it's being performed.
Okay. And the fourth?
Variability. The quality of a service can change depending on who provides it, when, where, and how.
Yeah. Your experience at the same restaurant chain can be different depending on the location or even the server you get that day.
Exactly. Or think about tech support. One agent might be brilliant, another less so, even within the same company.
Right. Now, one thing I found really insightful was the emphasis on not seeing goods and services as totally separate things.
Yeah.
The blend.
The source really highlights that most offerings are actually a mix. We kind of touched on this with the car example.
The physical car plus the financing, the warranty, the maintenance services.
Right. Or think about your smartphone. You get the physical device, the good.
But you also get the operating system, the app store, customer support, software updates.
All services that enhance the actual phone.
Precisely. It's rarely purely one or the other.
What?
Think about, say, going out for dinner.
You get the food, which is tangible.
The good. But the whole experience is massively shaped by the service, right? The atmosphere, the waiter's attention, how quickly the food comes out. Yeah, the service can make or break the meal, even if the food itself is decent.
Absolutely. It's almost always a combination.
So the source then breaks down different kinds of services. We've got professional services.
Okay. Like?
Expertise from people like plumbers, electricians, lawyers, doctors, even cosmeticians. It relies heavily on their specific skills and knowledge.
Got it. Skilled trades and professions.
Then there are business services. These are crucial for running companies across all sorts of industries.
Things like consulting, maybe customer service centers, IT support.
Exactly. And the source notes how these often get tangled up with goods through warranties, service agreements, ongoing support for hardware or software you bought.
Yeah, that blend again.
Technical support services are obviously huge now for so many manufactured products.
Definitely. Whether it's directly from the maker or a third party, it's a big part of the package.
And financial services, things like loans, insurance, investments, credit cards, they enable economic activity. Purely intangible, mostly, but vital.
Absolutely essential.
Finally, the source talks about service warranties.
Right, offering protection against future repair or replacement costs.
It's another great example of adding a service layer to a tangible good to boost its value and, reduce the risk for the buyer.
Yeah, peace of mind is a service feature. Okay, this all naturally leads us towards another critical piece of the puzzle,
which is,
the brand.
yes. So we've talked about the function, the benefits a product provides.
The rational side, maybe?
Right. But a brand, as the source really stresses, goes way beyond that. It's the name, the symbol, the design, something that adds this whole other layer of meaning and value, often emotional.
Definitely emotional. And you like that David Ogilvy definition.
I did, yeah. He called a brand a complex symbol, encompassing its attributes, name, packaging, price, its history, reputation, how it's advertised, and ultimately the impressions and experiences people have with it.
It's that whole intangible vibe, isn't it? The feeling you get. And the source clarifies, too, that a brand is a strategic asset for a company. It embodies its values, its beliefs, its personality, even how it acts.
It's like the company's promise or identity wrapped up.
Yeah, it's the shortcut for consumers to recognize and connect with a company and what it offers. Yeah. Way more than just a logo.
Right. Okay, so moving up a level from individual products, we get product lines. The source defines these pretty simply as groups of related products, marketed under one umbrella by a business or company.
And related how?
Could be similar function, or they target the same customers, maybe sold through the same channels, or even just in a similar price range.
Okay, like a skincare brand having a line of cleansers, moisturizers, serums, all aimed at, say, anti-aging.
Exactly that kind of thing.
Got it. And finally, extensions, brand and product extensions.
Yes, and the source makes a useful distinction here. The brand kind of lives in your head, right? It's the association.
While the product is the actual thing, the delivery mechanism for the brand's promise.
Exactly. So, okay, brand extensions. This is when a company uses its established brand name.
One people already know and hopefully trust.
To launch a product in a new category.
Right, like the celebrity examples you often see, fragrances, clothing lines, using their fame to sell something else.
Yeah, leveraging that existing recognition. But the source makes a key point. The alignment is critical.
Alignment between what?
Between the core brand identity, what people think the brand stands for, and the new product category.
Yes. If there's a mismatch, it can fall flat.
Which brings us to that classic Harley-Davidson perfume example.
Oh, yeah, the cautionary tale.
Right. Incredibly strong brand, super loyal following.
But the core identity was all about, ruggedness, masculinity, motorcycles.
And that just didn't mesh with the idea of perfume, at least in most consumers.
Yeah, the alignment just wasn't there. Big disconnect.
So that extension didn't work out so well.
Not really, no.
And the source actually breaks down brand extensions into types. First, line extension.
Okay, line extension.
This is where a company introduces new products, but within the same general category, using the same brand.
Like different versions of the same thing?
Pretty much.
Yep.
Different formats, packaging sizes, new flavors, different ingredients. The source uses Cherry Coke or Diet Coke as examples.
Ah, okay. Using the familiar brand to offer more choice within its existing turf.
Exactly. More variety in a space consumers already associate with that brand.
Makes sense. And the other type?
Category extensions. Yeah. This is where the established brand goes into a completely different product category.
Okay, like the Harley example, even if it wasn't perfume.
Right. The source mentions Harley-Davidson styling being applied to Ford F-Series trucks. That's taking the Harley brand essence and putting it onto a different type of vehicle entirely.
So it's borrowing the brand's image or values for a new field.
Yeah. A potentially more successful one might be, say, a luxury fashion house like Armani opening hotels. Armani hotels, right. Seems different, but maybe there's an underlying connection. Both cater to a desire for luxury, high-end experiences, sophisticated design.
Ah, so there's a conceptual link, even if the products are totally different.
Exactly. That alignment again.
Interesting.
So, wow, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, it's really clear that product is way more complex than just, an object.
Yeah, much richer. It's this whole offering, blending goods and services.
All designed strategically to meet customer needs and wants.
We've looked at how goods and services get classified.
The huge role branding plays in creating value and identity.
And how companies try to stretch that brand power with extensions.
It really underscores the importance of thinking about that whole customer journey, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And the lasting power of a well-managed brand. Understanding these distinctions is valuable, whether you're just buying things or you're involved in actually creating or marketing them.
Definitely gives you a useful lens.
For sure.
Okay, so for our final thought today, something for you to chew on. Given that difference between the product itself, the sort of delivery vehicle, and the brand, that collection of ideas in our minds. What are some really unexpected or maybe surprisingly successful brand extensions you've come across? And what do you think is the underlying connection, that maybe subtle link, that actually makes them work for consumers?
That's a good one. What makes those unlikely pairings succeed?
Something to ponder. Thanks for diving deep with us today.